Hey guys, I just wanted to bring you some news from the first day of CES 2013 out in Las Vegas. I just went over some news websites, my favorite news websites that I keep up with, and I kept up on my Twitter feed all day. If you're wondering how I got all this, that's how I keep up on my Twitter, and I follow lots of places like Engadget, and The Verge, and lots of editors at The Verge, and they did a very good job of keeping up with what was going on there and letting everybody know what was happening at CES. So these are just the highlights of today. And I'm filming this, in case you're wondering, I'm filming this today, January 7th, around 8:15 Eastern Time. So anything that happens after this, I might put in my next video if I do another one with CES, which I'll try to do. First thing I want to start with was Nvidia. That was sometime this morning or last night. Nvidia came out with what was probably one of the most anticipated things from their event, was the Tegra 4, which, if you don't know, is the next iteration. The Tegra 3 was used in many of their many different mobile devices, like the HTC One X. That was one of the big ones that used the Tegra 3, and that was quad-core. Of course, the US variant didn't use quad-core because of LTE and issues with that in the battery life. But this is quad-core, and it's LTE supported. It's not clear yet if phones will be able to have a Tegra 4 and LTE all in one, because of its quad-core capabilities. And if you're not familiar with that situation, the reason phones don't have yet quad-core and LTE is because LTE strains your battery, and quad-core processing strains your battery as well. And combined, that would take a massive battery to allow for that. So that's why a lot of phones don't have it yet, because the battery would be too thick, and then the phone wouldn't be as thin as the company might like it to be. So we're just going to have to wait and see if phones feature LTE and the Tegra 4 housed in one phone. Another one, that company that doesn't get much attention very often, is Huawei, and it's a Chinese phone company, and their phones don't make it to America a lot, but one phone that they're talking was big was the Huawei Ascend Mate, and it's 6.1 inches, which, if you're familiar with the mobile industry, you know that the Galaxy Note 2 by Samsung had a 5.5-inch screen, which is already huge. It's got a 4,050 milliamp hour battery, while the Note 2 had a 3,100 milliamp hour, which really says a lot, because the Note 2 gets decent battery life, and you take a whole another 1,000 milliamp hours on that battery. That's a huge battery, and the phone itself is huge, and it really blurs the line, as The Verge said, about where phones become tablets. And it's 6.1 inches is really large. You'd really have to see a picture of it to get a general feel for its massiveness. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I thought it was kind of interesting. Samsung, first off, I want to start by saying a lot of people expected them to throw out the Galaxy Note 3 or the Galaxy S4, neither of which happened at their keynote today. They came out. The big thing that they did come out with, instead of those they like to save for their own events, kind of like Apple does with the iPhone. Apple has its own iPhone event. Samsung has its own Galaxy S event. There was a big Galaxy S3 event last year, and it was its own thing, and they like to pump up the phone like that. The Galaxy S4, of course, is supposed to be coming in later months, like May, somewhere in there. But what Samsung did come out with was an 85-inch 4K HD LED TV. Sorry for all those acronyms. Basically, it's really, really high res. 4K, if you're not familiar, is the resolution. That means its depth is 4,000 pixels. And to put that in perspective for you, on YouTube, the highest resolution you can watch a video is 1080p. So this is about 4 times higher resolution than 1080p. So it's very, very, very defined. But like I said, that being their flagship item at CES this year, and not phones, is really not a surprise. It was kind of expected. Kingston, they make flash memory, mostly flash drives. They announced, it's kind of funny, a 1 terabyte flash drive. And most people, when they hear of terabytes and 500 gigabyte things, they think of things like this, a hard drive. But not the case. It's a flash drive, a thumb drive that you would just plug into the side of your laptop or whatever. And it's not cheap. They currently have a 512 gigabyte model, which I didn't know about, but they have one that's 512 gigabytes, and that one costs $1,750. Just to give you an idea of what this 1 terabyte one's going to run you if you're thinking about getting one. Sony, they came out also just about a half hour ago with some 4K TVs like Samsung did, 55 and 65 inches. And they also came out with a new flagship phone that's supposed to be right up there with the Galaxy S3, supposedly. And any other phone that might have a 1080p display, the Galaxy S3 doesn't. But the Galaxy S3 is just the top Android phone out there right now. It's called the Xperia Z. It's got a 5-inch display, which is 1080. It has a 1080p 5-inch display and a 13 megapixel camera. So they're waiting to see how that happens. And almost all these phones that are coming out right now, obviously the newest version of Android is 4.2, but a lot of these are coming out with 4.1 just because when they were developed, 4.2 wasn't out yet. So we'll see if they get upgraded to 5.0 when that comes out, if that's the next iteration of Android. We'll just have to see. Chevy, I feel like I've heard about this before CES, but Siri integration into your car, mostly advertised with the Chevy Sonic, the subcompact that Chevy has. Supposedly, once this gets all out and across the market, you'll be able to just press the button and it'll Bluetooth connect to your iPhone, and you can use Siri with your voice through your car, which is kind of nice. And once it gets distributed, you'll be, supposedly, if you have a Chevy Sonic, you'll be able to go to your dealership and have it set up for free. So that's kind of nice if you already have a Chevy Sonic. Pantech came out with a new phone called the Pantech Discover. It's 4.8 inches, right around the Galaxy S3's range. 720p display and a 12.6 megapixel camera. It's got NFC, which is standard with most Android phones right now, and it's dual core. This is also another Galaxy S3 competitor as well, supposedly, so we'll see if that can take any of the Galaxy S3's market share right now. Galaxy S3 currently, I think Samsung said that they'd sold 30 million Galaxy S3 so far, which is a lot. That's staggering, really. So we'll see if these new phones can take any of the Galaxy S3's thunder. Like I said, that's day one of CES. I filmed this around 8:15 Eastern time, so we'll see what's to come, and hopefully I'll come back to you guys with another video.